developers so that they really consider us when creating games.
We need to make accessibility standard from day one of development all the way through to the end of a game's life cycle. I want to live in a world where accessibility is a default thing.
So hello guys, and welcome to another video. I thought that today I would show you my favourite game and how I play my favourite game. This is because I do not have live streaming. My favourite game to play on my Nintendo Switch, or was on my Nintendo DS when I was 14, was Nintendogs. A lot of this you can see needs setting up by a sighted person. There is absolutely no audio description, but a lot of it I have learned and had to learn because it just isn't accessible as they could. So I'm going to tell you how they could make it accessible. So you're about to witness me getting out my iPhone and using Seeing AI to read a message pop-up that crops up on the screen. How I select my account, well, that's quite simple. My dad made my account and I just learned to click the right buttons and when, thanks to a sighted person. Here we go.
Channel, short text, adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value. Was around a park, held hand out, T ended swiping it, swiping cued, huh. I was walking around a park on a kitten. I held hand out to it. Ended up swiping at kittens. Sure can be cued, huh. Love.
The German Shepherd is called Bonnie, and in order to play with Bonnie, I simply learned which button to press and when, because they just don't tell you whether you're on the food label or on the play setting or on anything else. So here we are, witnessing me getting a bowl of water out, and then I'll be getting a bowl of food out. When you hear the blings, that's when they're very, very happy and love heart bubbles come up. I like that because I can see it on the screen. The flash of colour helps me know what I've actually managed to achieve. What they could do in terms of accessibility is to just make it say what I'm clicking on with my finger, like you do on an iPad or on any other piece of tech. That would make life so much easier. Again, another description pops up. Now I am patting my dog named Bonnie. I like it because it's interactive and I can kind of see the differentiation in colour. I know I'm colourblind, but the animals, they're quite 3D sounding, so you can kind of tell where they are on the screen. And I just use my finger mainly because I just don't have a DS rather than a Nintendo Switch. If I had one of the stick things, believe me, I would use them. I have done in the past. And then I'm going to brush Bonnie, and the noise changes then as well from patting to brushing. I do this every day because it's part of the game that you care for your animals. I love the game Nintendo Dogs and Cats, because this is Nintendo Dogs and Cats, or Nintendo Dogs or Nintendo Cats, because it's pretty basic and it's pretty simple and kind of self-explanatory, if you can see, obviously. I like it because it, you know, if you want to have a pet but you just don't have the room, you've got a pet there, or a version of a pet. It's kind of like a Tamagotchi, you know, where people could play with the Tamagotchi, but you couldn't. I could never ever play with the Tamagotchis because I just could not see well enough or hear well enough to actually use a Tamagotchi. My cousin had a Tamagotchi. She absolutely loved having a Tamagotchi. So the next one you'll see is Patch the cat. Again, if you if looking at the screen, I'm merely doing this by memory alone. Again, they could just have a voiceover that tells you what you're clicking on, and then once you get used to the game, you could kind of switch those aspects of the game off so that you kind of learned, so you know what you're doing. So there's Patch the cat. Now, I like the kitty cats because, again, you get a lot more love hearts from the cat when it sprinkles up with love hearts. And you can tell where the head is when they meow, along with the same with the dog. I like the dogs too because they can roll on their backs and show their bellies like real dogs do. I do own a guide dog, so I do know what a real dog is like to look after. They all have their individual personalities, so they're programmed to have their individual personalities, which I think is a lot of fun of the game. The game itself, you can train them to to win competitions, which you will see later on. You can train them on a walk. Again, I have accessibility issues with that. You can train them on obedience training, but I haven't quite managed to do that with Nintendo. I'm sure that I'm just going to have to buy a DS to have the stick, otherwise it just doesn't work as well as it used to when I used to have them. You have to look online for a lot of the kind of hacking info to know exactly what you can do with your pet Nintendo dog or cat. They did talk about Nintendo horses, but I don't think it ever came out. Now that would be quite cool. Nintendo horses. Or Nintendo dragons. That would be fun, wouldn't it? If we had like pet Nintendo dragons to play with. So, I think this is the other dog, Toby. He is a Japanese Akita dog, and he is bright white. Patch, the cat, was like, he was a Japanese cat, short-haired breed with like a purpley blue and browny white patches on him, as my dad described. Again, another thing that they could do quite easily if they just got the visual pop-ups to talk when you pressed on them, or to just talk when they come up. Just that tiniest little bit of accessibility would make this game so easy to play and very convertible. I presume in theory, but you've got to remember I'm not a games expert, I don't make games, that we could possibly put this on an iPad and get it to work the same as it does on the Nintendo. But that is coming out the mouth of someone who is not a trained game expert. So once I have given Toby a grooming, I go back into the menu and I'll wait to describe what is going on. When you're not playing with them, they tend to run around a lot and investigate the toys you can buy for them. Again, another instruction pop-up. Here we are. I have a ball game out now. In terms of the toys, I've bought loads of toys, but I don't really know what they are and where they are, or what they were when I bought them, or how much they were. I just presumed that I had the cash and hoped for the best. And I just randomly click to find which toy I like the sound of, and then I throw the toy. And obviously all three animals quite enjoy this game of running after the toy. I first got this when I was 14, and it really helped with my confidence and my emotional state. I felt like I had little friends, and it was kind of like a space in which I could just relax a bit. It's not like playing on other games such as Onyx or Portal Runner or Prince of Persia or Crash Bandicoot. It's more of a relaxation hobby type game. The games that really made me jealous when I was younger, like really jealous, was the brain training games by a Korean bloke. That made me so jealous, because I thought, if I had sight, I would quite easily be able to play them. Or, you know, if they made it so that you could do a puzzle game like that to train your brain as a blind person, you know, I could get the benefits from that, because there are quite a lot of benefits to playing these games. It increases your focus capability and has been proven, believe it or not, to increase the ability of colourblind people to differentiate colour changes. Now, I think I've moved on to my cat now, and I think I'm about to play with Patch, and I'm going to play this little game. You know where you get like a string game, like a toy on a string and a stick, and they're called cat ones. You can buy different types in the shop. Again, it would make it easier if it just spoke. You know, that's all it really needs, is to be able to speak. The contrast on these games are very good, especially that you can choose your own background setting once you've got the money. Now, the way in which I do this, because you think, how can you tell that the cat is about to swipe? I've only got a pinprick of vision, so I tend to look at the cat's eyes, and the cat's eyes tend to squint inwards before he swipes. He's a lot quicker with another cat wand. If they like the cat wand, they're a lot faster, and you know, I struggle with that, because there are some things that, you know, you won't ever really be able to do with a visual impairment as bad as mine. But again, it gets my brain going in the morning, and yet keeps me relaxed at the same time. It does come with music, but I've chosen to deliberately switch off the music just because it's a lot less annoying. You know, when you're sitting in a room full of people and you have no headphones to plug in, it's a lot less annoying to people. And I just love the sparkly noises. You know, every time Patch misses a swipe, the sparkles come up. I love that noise, because it says that I've achieved something, and it makes it clear that I've achieved something. Small things, please, small minds. I don't know, I just like it. Here we go. Now, I haven't bothered to find out what that message was, mainly because I normally know that at this time it usually says clean out the toilet, or they don't want a drink that you're offering, or something else.
It seems they are not
Here we
hungry.
go. Here's the message. So here we are playing frisbee. So in order to get them prepared for the competitions, including the frisbee game competitions, you have to teach your dog how to play frisbee. In all my games, I tend to put them on the easy settings, because the easy settings mean that the game does a lot more for you, and it therefore becomes less stressful and less difficult. But I suppose if there was a more accessibility features, and it's not so fast, then I would do better, and I would change the setting from easy to hard. So here we are. I believe the dog I first had, because obviously I can't see the screen when I'm doing this recording, is the German Shepherd Bonnie, and she's gone after it now. You'll then see me playing with the Japanese Akita, because you can't take your cat on Nintendo Dogs and Cats for a frisbee game. Cats are a little bit odd on this game. They tend to just go out and bring things back, although I have to say, Patch has never made himself useful in that way whatsoever. In the beginning, you saw a message from Mum or Dad. It's not a real message. It's a game's storyline message. And sometimes they'll bring gifts of money, a new toy to play with, something else like that. And I've got to be honest, it's a lot easier to make money on here than it is on real life, that's for sure. So let's just enjoy the peaceful atmosphere of watching them going after the frisbee. So right, I've come back out of it. Whenever the screen flashes, that's helpful, so that I know that I've gone back out of that area. I think I'm about to give them a drink of water, because obviously when you take them out to play frisbee or on a walk or something else, they always need a drink. Always, always, always. In the room I have all sorts of little game equipment and things like that. Now I am taking Bonnie out on a walk. Now normally I use the Be My Eye service to find things on a walk. When you're on this walk, you're meant to find balloons that are just kind of around the place, and you're meant to guide your dog to those balloons. The dog then barks, which you will see, because I happened to find one. Irony of ironies. Not that I'm actually capable of seeing them, of course. In order to... they then dig up the money. Sorry, my actual real dog is barking in her sleep. In order to dig up the money, and then you give this kind of ping as you've got the money. The dog is now sitting at the toilet, so I know when it's stopped, either a toilet when it's silent, or when the dog barks, it is a balloon. Now, how I would make this accessible, this is an aspect of the game that is really difficult. Maybe the game operatives, would you call them? Creators, would make a setting where you could set the balloons to make certain noises, and it would just keep on kind of blinging at you, so that you could then get the dog to that particular noise on the screen, and then the dog could dig it up and therefore have the toy or the money that digging it up would get. There we go. Now, normally I would do it with all 3 dogs, but we don't want to sit through all 3 dogs now, do we? We just want to know what I can access and what I can't access, and what I do in those awkward situations when I can't access the game itself. So now we have jumped into a well done. The end of a game. Now, this was the end of a competition. I like the end of that competition because it shows you exactly what you've won. Because if the dog has got a first, they'll howl extra loud. If the dog has only got a second or a third, they don't howl as loudly. So I just thought I'd show you a bit of actual play on the game itself. Again, this is useful. The beep, beep, beep is useful, so that you then know when to start throwing the frisbee. So now you throw the frisbee, and the dog is going after it. Toby is going after it, and he's coming back with it. Now,
for people with
this
sight
is where I
loss.
have an
Register
issue.
today. rnib.org.uk/gaming-4-RNIB.
RNIB. See differently.